Welcome back to FryMinis. I'm Eric, and today in our Strixhaven, a curriculum of chaos coverage, we're going to take a look at the founder dragons and all their stats. Okay, so if you're just joining us, thanks, welcome aboard. Check out this playlist. We've got all of our Strixhaven coverage in one easy to use playlist, so it's great. You can just click and watch and like away. Otherwise, everybody else, thank you. We are trying to hit that 3,000 number by the end of the year. We're closing in on it. We just hit that 2,500 mark. Now we just hit that 2,600 mark. So we're getting there. We're getting there. I think we can do it. So thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for joining us over at discord.gg/FryMinis. Whatever you're doing out there, thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, so in Strixhaven, the university, there are 5 colleges, and each of those colleges was founded by a founder dragon. Now, these dragons are definitely Magic the Gathering dragons. I don't know exactly what that means, but what I do know is that means that these are not, these are definitely not like your normal D&D type dragons. They're not metallic, they're not chromatic, they're not even gem dragons. They're each really their own thing, and they do a great job of representing the colleges here, that each one is, so the colleges are named after the dragons. And I think they're really cool. I think they, it's a nice change of pace from the different dragons, and I think it's really funny to get more dragon stat blocks after we just had Fizban's Treasury of Dragons, but more stats the better. So these are cool. I like them a lot. I don't know, it's just so strange to have dragons actually called dragons in D&D, but they don't match at all to what normal dragons are. So let's talk a little bit about what it means to be a founder dragon. Strixhaven University was founded by 5 ancient dragons who, according to legend, hatched from the magical energy of the newborn world of Arcavios. These founder dragons were among the first to master magic, and they realized that only through disciplined study would magic be safe in the hands of other peoples. They founded Strixhaven to facilitate the study and establish the 5 colleges based on the magic that each dragon mastered, as summarized in the founder dragons table. To this day, the founder dragons roam the world. They no longer associate directly with Strixhaven, preferring to let the deans of the colleges speak in their stead. The dragons' knowledge is vast, but their tempers can prove short. Mages seek them out only to learn the most elusive secrets. The dragon stat blocks are presented in Chapter 7. And our founder dragon's table, Lorehold, was founded by Velomachus Lorehold, Prismari by Galazeth Prismari, Quandrix by Tanazir Quandrix, Silverquill by Shadrix Silverquill, and Witherbloom by Beladros Witherbloom. So I don't know what that world they come from is, and I'm really interested to see how that plays in to the elegy of the first world that we just learned about in Fizban's. Truthfully, it sounds like it's just a completely different thing, which I don't super love, especially since these books are kind of back to back. I think maybe we could have addressed that somehow, but I'm also not super duper up on that lore. So I will wait for somebody who is more accustomed to MTG type stuff to fill me in on that one. Please leave a comment below if you know how this works out. Okay, so in the book here, there's not actually a ton of information about the founder dragons. We've got that, what we just looked at. And then at the end, in where we have all the stat blocks, we have maybe a paragraph or 2 on each one of them, and then their stats. They don't, and I wouldn't call this a spoiler, but they don't play any role in the adventure to the best of my knowledge. I haven't read it completely through, but I have skimmed it, and I don't think they're in there. So I think it's nice that Wizards included the stat blocks here. I know that was definitely one of the biggest complaints people had about Van Richten's guide, was not having stat blocks there for everybody. So I think including them here is a good safe bet, especially since it's just 5 monsters. So just to keep pace with our other videos we've done, we're going to go in alphabetical order of the colleges. So starting off with Lorehold, we have Velomachus Lorehold. Velomachus Lorehold was the first dragon of Strixhaven to master the magic of order and chaos, the flow and prediction of events through time. Her magic encourages exploration and discovery through the lens of creating a direct conduit to the past. She founded Lorehold College to ensure mortals would never forget the lessons of the past. After living for centuries, Velomachus has grown tired of watching the same mistakes repeated continually. She hopes her colleagues' teachings will foster the skills to either predict future pitfalls by taking lessons from those that came before, or create flexible mindsets that allow people to shift their plans effectively when the unexpected occurs. Velomachus' spells, legendary actions, and breath weapon are accompanied by visual effects resembling tomes and scrolls composed of golden light, perceptible distortions as time doubles back on itself, and thunderous sounds. And taking a look at the stat block, these dragons are definitely powerful. Like, there's no doubt about it. I like that this one explicitly calls out its class. It's a wizard. It's lawful neutral. 487 hit points with 21 AC. These are very solid. The stats are bananas. 30 intelligence, 30 strength. I mean, everything's maxed out here. Look at some of those skill proficiencies. Plus 18. And it's immune to thunder. That's cool. I also appreciate that the lore dragon speaks all languages. The Battletide Breath is interesting. So 90-foot cone, DC 25 con save. We've got a total of 14d12 damage divided by force and thunder. And then there's a 20-foot pushback. And if we look at the spell casting, this is where maybe some of the new design philosophy comes into play here, where these spells are just once per day casting. I don't really know how much these would come into play in combat, which is when we would need the stat blocks, though. Right? Who's casting Contact Other Plane or Divination in the middle of combat? Like Wall of Force, sure. But I don't know. This is a wizard. I would expect some more spellcasting capability. And this is something you're going to see throughout all of these dragons. And for the legendary actions, we've got some cool options here. But I want to draw attention to Chaotic Flow. I think this is so neat. I don't think we've seen anything like this before. So she moves up to half her speed, and if a creature hits or misses with an opportunity attack during this, the attacker takes damage just out of nowhere. I think that's kind of a fun, like you can still hit her with the opportunity attack, but you're just going to get a little bit of jab back. So yeah, I mean, these are strong. These are powerful dragons. These aren't equal to Tiamat or anything like that, but they're definitely a fight. I really don't understand the kind of spellcasting lack of options here, but I mean, the whole book only gave us a couple new spells too, so maybe that's just like a thing here. I don't understand it, but it's not the end of the world, right? So up next, we're moving over to Prismari. Galazeth founded Prismari College to ensure that the study of magic wouldn't ever be relegated to pure practicality. His teachings emphasize that magic's beauty must contribute to unfolding culture and personal emotional growth. Galazeth views dynamic expression and precise perfection as necessarily competing forces, both within individuals and the world at large. So Galazeth Prismari is a step down, so it's a CR 23 instead of CR 25. And I really like that we go from speaking all languages to common and draconic. And that's it. We have some resistances and we have 2 immunities. Galazeth here is a sorcerer rather than a wizard. Chaotic neutral. This breath is a scary option here. So it's a 90-foot cone, DC 22 dex save, but you don't get any benefit from cover. So if you like to hide from a dragon when it's about to breathe, that won't really help you here. We've got a total of 14d10 damage divided by cold and fire. And same for spellcasting. We have once per day each, Control Water, Gust of Wind, and Wall of Stone. And I didn't mention it on the Lorehold dragon, but the legendary action, the 3 cost, they each have an option where they summon multiple mascots that are representations of their schools. So Prismari, pretty formidable for sure. Lorehold is definitely a step up in terms of difficulty, but it is what it is. So next we're going to move to Tanazir Quandrix. The dragon Tanazir Quandrix is one of the most potent masters of the magic that governs physical reality and theoretical abstraction. Through this knowledge, she can alter the physical properties of existence, gain fundamental understanding, and manipulate the flow of thought. Tanazir founded Quandrix College to nurture the spark of curiosity in those who would pursue knowledge. The goal is to train mages who seek knowledge for its own sake, guided by the mathematical principles that describe and govern the nature of reality. Tanazir's spells, legendary actions, and breath weapon manifest luminous patterns of geometric light. These take various forms, such as an interlocking cage around the target of a spell, or a wave of infinitely replicating fractal swirls in the area of her breath. Alright, Tanazir brings us into CR 24, Lawful Neutral Wizard, and now we're gaining telepathy and a hover speed, which is very, very interesting to see on a dragon. I think this breath weapon is very interesting. It's a 90-foot cone as Tanazir exhales a weakening equation. So we've got a total of 26d6 damage divided between force and psychic. And the target is weakened until the start of Tanazir's next turn. While weakened, a creature has disadvantage on strength-based attack rolls, ability checks, and saving throws. I do like Tanazir's spell options here for a combat kind of encounter though. Enlarge Reduce is good. Polymorph, of course. At least we're getting something here. But don't forget this teleport. This is just an action to do a 100-foot teleport. Like, that's amazing. That's great. Who needs to fly when you can just teleport yourself 100 feet every turn? I do love Fold Space. So this is a legendary action that costs 2. Tanazir uses teleport, and each creature within 20 feet of the space she left must succeed on a DC 23 strength save or be pulled 30 feet closer to the center of the space and take 3d10 force damage. I really think that's fun, kind of like a little black hole or something where it's like, I don't know. I think that's really neat. Okay, up next, Shadrix Silverquill. And no, this is all the lore. There's so little for this one. That's weird. Centuries ago, the dragon Shadrix Silverquill mastered the magic of light and shadow, and he focused that magic through communication. Shadrix's words thrummed with power, inspiring his allies and demoralizing his enemies. He established Silverquill College on the principles of eloquence and leadership, seeking to produce leaders who would go forth to guide others. CR 22, Bard. We're back to all languages, which makes sense, of course. Very effective breath weapon here. 90-foot cone, DC 21 con save. Total 14d8 damage between radiant and psychic. And targets are blinded until the start of Shadrix's next turn. And we've got a good selection of spells here. Darkness and Daylight, Hypnotic, Pattern, Sending, and Suggestion. Just once per day, casting Suggestion is pretty weak, I think, for a CR 22 monster in a combat. I get the idea of streamlining these spellcasting abilities, but sometimes I don't know if they make sense. And I can't not mention Shadow Slip, turning into a shadow and moving without opportunity attacks and then blinding things as you move through them is it sounds really fun. All right, so Shadrix Silverquill, pretty good. You probably are thinking that a lot of these sound very similar, and I think you're right. The dragon Beledros Witherbloom masters the intertwined magic of life and death. Her power taps into the life force flowing through living things in the natural world. She manipulates that energy to give healing and life or to bring death and decay. Her mastery of this magic sustains her own life force, even without the sustenance of food, drink, or even air. She founded Witherbloom College to pass on her understanding of the natural cycle. She hoped to create generations of stewards who would use her teachings to defend nature and help others. In keeping with the dichotomous nature of her philosophy and magic, she views the more dangerous aspects of nature, including the inevitability of death and decay, as natural and integral parts of existence. Beledros is a druid, CR 24, with common, draconic, and druidic, and sylvan. Her breath is probably the weakest of all the breaths, though. DC 23 con, or take 12d12 damage divided between poison and necrotic, both I think pretty easy to get resistance to, if not outright immunity. I do like that a creature that takes damage from the breath can't regain hit points until the start of Beledros' next turn. That I really like. Miasmal Flow is really cool too. She can move up to half her speed, no opportunity attacks. She can poison a creature if she moves through it. And her spellcasting options here are pretty good. Hopefully if you're fighting a dragon, it's not a dragon by itself. You've got some other stuff with it. So Greater Restoration, Mass Cure Wounds, Plant Growth, Revivify. Those could all really, really be powerful. I think it's interesting that she has a legendary action that is just to use one of her regular actions. So she could be floating all over the place in this cloud of green mist. So that's it. Those are the founder dragons. I think they all have good flavor. I think they are maybe a little too similar. You probably noticed. I mean, they all share the same 3-point legendary action for their respective schools. Some of them have similar effects with the moving between things. They all have different breath weapons that are split between damage types. And as I've learned from our Magic the Gathering friends, those are tied to colors. I need to read a book. Tell me in the comments. Give me an article or a video or something that's just like an overview of Magic the Gathering lore that I need to watch or read or learn about. I think these are good options to have, though. And I do think that if they weren't in here, even if they're kind of mediocre, as I think they are, if they weren't here, I think people would not like that. So I'm glad they're here at the end of the day. So, of course, let me know what you think. I'd love to hear. And again, please share these videos. Stay tuned. We'll have more content out, but I think we're going to slow down to maybe one, maybe sometimes two, but probably just one video a day as we lead up to the big launch of this book. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later.